What kind of goals do you have with your career? Where do you really want to take this? Where do you see yourself in the next, 2, 5, 10 years?
Um, I want to be world champion. I want to retire my mom. Make sure my family's good. But yeah, I want to be world champion, and I want to do it at a young age, probably like around 20 or 21. So, I mean, right now we're taking up the big fights, undefeated. We fought three undefeated fighters in a row. And yeah, just I just want to make sure my family's okay.
Yeah. Is that something that, is important for you? Is there a piece of your story that's like kind of fighting for your family?
Yeah. My mother has um uh my mother is she's sick with MS, multiple sclerosis.
Mm.
So it's cost a lot for the treatment and stuff. So I just want to help her with that.
Wow. Yeah, that's really challenging, very difficult. And so, are you quite close with your mom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
close to her.
So she's supportive. She doesn't worry about you.
No, she doesn't worry at all.
She knows you're a warrior.
Yeah, she knows how I train and how hard I work for this.
Is your mom aware that, she's kind of on that list of reasons for you?
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah, it must be pretty special for you and your mom to kind of have that connection, and she must appreciate you going to battle for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. That's very it's so funny about, boxing seems to always have an undertone of people fighting for a reason or fighting their way out of something, and I think boxing saves lives in a lot of ways. Would you say that you can relate to that as well as a bit of an experience?
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that because I do. A bunch of boxers do have a reason to fight, and I'm one of them.
How important do you think that is? Like, do you think a fighter can be as successful if they're sort of just doing it because, they love boxing or they want to be famous, or, how important do you think is having a deeper meaning behind why you fight?
It's definitely important, but anyone who really wants it can get it. They can if they work hard for it and they try and do their best. They can anyone can achieve it.
Hmm. How how is it for you kind of being like, I bet you're probably one of the younger guys in the gym.
Yeah.
How is that for you? Like, do you try to get to know some of the older fighters and learn from the people around you? Is it intimidating for you ever?
No, I don't really try to. I'm not really much of a like a social person, so I don't try to talk to people. I just like watching and learning from because I'm a visual learner, so I like
Right.
watching and learning quickly. But
Interesting.
but other than that, they don't treat me any different. They see me as like a grown man.
Right.
So yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
That's wicked. I was chatting with David John Jackson recently. Do you know who that is?
No.
One of the he's a retired pro, but he's currently like Clarissa Shields coach. He trained Bernard Hopkins. He's trained a
Yeah.
bunch of guys. He's actually fought Bernard Hopkins as well. Anyways, he was saying that fighters actually learn by watching other fighters more than they'll even learn from their trainers. It's like a real student of the game is always watching, always picking up things that they're seeing happen around them. And it sounds like you can completely relate to that. Always
Yeah.
observing, always taking in.
Yeah. I feel like boxers definitely learn when they watch more because you can learn something from every boxer. So when you're watching sparring or a fight, you can always learn something that they do.
Were you a fan of the sport before you got into it?
No, I didn't even know that existed.
Wow, no way. So it was just like out of the blue, this kind of came into your life and it came in really quick.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible. Now, how has Pro Box helped with your career, Pro Box TV?
Pro has helped a lot. They've televised my fights. They've put me against good fights. They've always like promoted me. They always interview me before and after the fight. So they've helped a lot with my fights.
Yeah. What's so I'm curious how you find, like, I feel like social media is really becoming a huge part of how boxers can market themselves and stand out amongst the sea of other people trying to do the same thing. But for someone who's maybe, and I don't know how you feel about social media, I'm making an assumption based on you kind of saying you're not maybe the most social guy. Like, do you find that a bit of a challenge? Do you have people to help you with that, or is that an area that you feel comfortable in self-marketing?
Yeah, I don't really post a lot. I just post a little bit, but my dad's the one who does more of the social media things. Like he posts a whole bunch of like he posts like one time a day about it.
Dad,
But
well done.
yeah,
That must have been hard, like a bit of a learning curve for dad. I mean, that's not the generation that's like, okay, social media, daily post.
yeah, but not I don't really post on social media. Only time I do post is when I have a fight coming up or after the fight or back in training camp. But other than that, I don't really post like a lot on my story or nothing like that.
Yeah. So when you were, as you weren't really like a fan of belly boxing until you were in it yourself, and then at the time you were kind of coming into it. Who are some of your favorite people to watch and study and learn from in the sport?
My top favorite person to watch is Dave Benavides, just because I've been around him basically my whole career.
Mm,
So I watched him spar, I watched him fight, I watched him do everything. So I learned a lot from him. Um, I like watching Mayweather. I like watching shit Chris Stevenson.
mhm.
Um, Canelo too. Crawford's a good one too. It's just a whole bunch of fighters that are like that you can learn from. You can pick things from. You can learn from them.
Mhm. And what's been your thoughts on sort of the I think constant back and forth that's been going on with PBC and Canelo, and is he fighting David Benavidez? Is he fighting another Charlo brother? What's that been like for you in the gym conversations, or your own personal opinion?
Um, I hope he fights David Benavidez because David Benavidez definitely deserves that fight now.
Yeah. Do you think he's ducking
Um,
him?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so.
It
But
seems like Canelo knows that's a hard fight.
yeah, Canelo knows that's how I fight. So I feel like he's kind of avoiding it right now.
Right.
But I feel like the longer he waits, the worse it's just gonna get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all do have an expiry date, especially in
Yeah,
pro sports. Like it is a short career, and that's why you have to make hay while the sun shines, is because, it is a short career. And I mean, and to your benefit, you're starting this journey where, most guys turning pro like in their early 20s, and you're kind of getting like a few years head start on sort of the
yeah,
average path. So are you really looking to maximize your kind of prime years in the sport?
yeah, yeah. I'm looking to maximize. I'm hoping to box till I'm like 30, and then once I'm 30, once I see myself like going down a little bit, then I'll kind of see what I'll do from there.
Do you think most boxers say that to themselves and then find it, once the time actually comes, find it really hard to stay retired?
Yeah, I
How do you
think they
how
do
do you think
because
people know when it's time? And how do you think they actually, stick to that decision?
I think they know when it's time when they started to like look bad in fights, probably maybe lose some fights. Um, I think that's when starting to look bad in sparring. I think that's when it's time to like. That's when you know it's like time you have to, uh,
Yeah.
because after that you're just risking yourself to get hurt.